I'm Rodney Andrews. I'm the director here at the UK Center for Applied Energy Research. Just want to thank you all for coming today. We are obviously very excited about this project. It's been a great partnership with the state, with East Kentucky Power, and a chance to take one of our projects that we start at the very small scale in the lab up to trying to do a meaningful demonstration at a utility to understand this technology and hopefully improve the footprint for power generation in the state. At this point, I'd like to introduce our MC for today, House Majority Floor Leader Rocky Adkins. Rocky is on the Center's advisory board. He's been a leader in energy legislation and policy and implementation here in the state, and has been one of our best supporters. So, Rocky. Thank you.
Rodney, thank you so much. I'm truly honored to be here today. It's always exciting to be able to come to announcements and events like this when we get a chance to see the work that has been done actually being put into application. So it is truly an honor for me to be here. I can remember in the session of 2006 and the special session of 2007, we talked about how we could advance Kentucky to be the national and international leader in the energy field. And the main approach and the main focus of our legislation, through working directly with Rodney Andrews here at the Center for Applied Energy Research and some of the people here in the crowd in the private sector, we said that the main focus that we had to take was to really expand our opportunities in the field of research and development. That if we truly wanted to be the international leaders, we had to be the place that energy companies looked at, that Kentucky is the place you need to go. Kentucky is the place you need to be to have the advanced research and development done to produce and create the new energy technologies of the future. Well, folks, here we are today. We are here today answering the challenge of how we can continue to use our abundance of resources that we have in the Commonwealth of Kentucky and throughout the United States and throughout this world, and be able to continue to have low-cost energy with the resources we have, and to be able to maximize our potential in creating a strong economy which will produce good jobs. Kentucky is a coal state, and we're an agriculture state. And we're here today to celebrate the research and development that has been done, in my opinion, to enhance both of those signature industries. The abundance of coal, to be able to continue to use that, to be able to continue to burn coal for energy. 95% of our energy, electricity produced in Kentucky is produced from coal. So Kentucky has to be on the cutting edge. We must be on the cutting edge to be able to answer the challenge of whatever regulations or whatever mandates may come to continue to use that resource to produce low-cost energy. But to be able to do it cleaner than we ever have, and today, believe it or not, we're burning coal cleaner than we ever have in the history of time, and much of it is because Dr. Capilouto, the work that has been done here at the Center for Applied Energy Research. But to be able to use our other signature industry of agriculture, to be able to take coal and to capture the CO2, and to be able to use that CO2 to grow algae, and then to be able to take that algae to biomass and be able to turn it into other applications, whether it be biodiesels or whether it be animal feed or whatever it may be. I think that here today we're proving, if you give us the opportunity and turn us loose and let our brilliant and our bright people do what they do best, then there's no question in my mind that we can meet any challenge that comes along to be able to produce the energy not only today but in the future. Our utility folks tell me that the demand for energy is expected to double in the next 25 years. That's kind of scary. So we must meet the challenge. And the research and development that's being done here has been a well-kept secret, to be very honest. I have used my platform to talk about what is going on here at the Center for Applied Energy Research. Everything from carbon capture to coal gasification technologies, to being able to take CO2 and to be able to sequester the CO2 for oil recovery or gas recovery, but now to be able to take CO2, a valuable gas, and to be able to use that gas in a very, very efficient way to grow algae and to be able to continue to use coal, and as we burn coal, to be able to burn it cleaner than we ever have, and to grow this algae to basically be able to turn it into a biodiesel or some other application. To be able to do that to reduce our dependence on foreign oil is an exciting thing for us to celebrate here today. And what I'd like for everyone to understand before you leave here is the work that's going on here at the Center for Applied Energy Research. Dr. Capilouto, the work that is going on here is amazing. And what people need to understand here in Lexington and in Kentucky, that the Center for Applied Energy Research is leading the world in many, many of the applications that will bring forth the new technologies and the new energy fields of the future. So I think that's exciting. Much of that's going on right behind me as I speak here today. And we ought to celebrate that, and we ought to be proud of that, because when we combine these two industries, coal and agriculture, when we combine them to work together, then we have the opportunity in Kentucky to use what we have in Kentucky to produce a strong economy and create the types of jobs that our people need and our people deserve. So I am honored to be here today to have a chance to play a part in this exciting and this very, very special announcement. You can do the research and development, but you got to have the private sector to be a partner. And I'm so honored to be here at the Center for Applied Energy Research with East Kentucky Power, as they are the private partner, Dr. Peters, in making this research now go to a demonstration and to prove to the world that this demonstration of capturing CO2 to grow algae can be done and will be done in the future. So I'm honored to be here today to play a part in announcing and celebrating with you the work that is being done here at the Center for Applied Energy Research at the University of Kentucky. An exciting thing. I have the great honor today to introduce to you Dr. Eli Capilouto. He became the 12th president of the University of Kentucky on July the 1st of 2011. A native of Montgomery, Alabama, Dr. Capilouto previously served as provost of the University of Alabama at Birmingham and dean of the UAB School of Public Health. Since arriving at UK, Dr. Capilouto has focused on meeting with faculty, staff, students in UK's academic and professional schools, with alumni and friends, in the community, with business leaders, and I can tell you this, he's been to see state lawmakers as well. He's been to see me, I can tell you that right now, and we spent several hours together talking about what's going on not only at the University of Kentucky, not what's only going on in Kentucky, but the first thing I showed him was a bottle of clear fuel that had been made from basically the gasification of Fischer-Tropsch technology, coal to liquid fuel. The first thing I showed him that was taking place right here. Dr. Capilouto received his bachelor's and master's degree in epidemiology and doctor of dental medicine degree from schools within the University of Alabama system. In 1991, he earned his doctoral in health policy and management from the Harvard University School of Public Health. It's a great honor for me to introduce to you. It's hard for me to say Capilouto, Capilouto, Capilouto. We don't have too many of those in Elliott County where I come from, but we're glad to have this one in the Commonwealth of Kentucky. And Dr. Eli, if you'd come on up here, we're going to give you a big round of applause. We're honored to have you. We'll get him.
Thank you, Leader Adkins. I haven't forgot our first meeting. Until you told me what was in that container, I thought I was going to have to drink it. I wasn't sure what it was. But as I listened to you today, I remember what struck me most about our first meeting. And that was a passion for this state that is really rooted in your concern for your fellow citizens. You talked about us being partners in ventures like this today, but it always came back to the people you represent and the jobs they could have and the dignity that those jobs gave them. And so I'm proud to be a partner with you and to say again today what kind of example you are providing, not just for our university, but I think for higher education as we go forward in a difficult time. Rodney Andrews has spearheaded something here that is remarkable. The model is that he does it with so many partners. Public-private partnerships are something you're going to hear more and more often as we go forward in the future. There's a time when research and development is stalled a little at certain levels, and to be able to be that kind of partner where the state, a power company, can invest and come together to solve a problem that touches all of us is what is going to keep universities relevant. So I thank all those partners here, Secretary Peters, for your work and leadership. Leader Adkins, Tony, thank you as well. We have much more to do, and at the end of the day, it's all going to make more possible the things that Rocky Adkins dreams about for our people here in Kentucky. So thank you very much. We're proud to be a part of it.
Dr. Capilouto, thank you, and look forward to working with you as you start your new life, basically, here at the University of Kentucky and here in Kentucky. And this is a great Commonwealth of Kentucky. It's great from Pikeville to Paducah and all parts in between. It's just an outstanding place, and we look forward to your leadership. And I'd just like to say this to you. We want you to do well. We want you to succeed. We're dependent on it. So we look forward to the opportunity of working with you. As we said, these projects, as far as research and development, will not work to get really to the level of demonstration without our private partners, without private industry being a part of what we're trying to do to advance the research and development to the technologies and the size that we need to have it to make it work, to the scale that it has to work, basically to get to where we want to go. So it's an honor for me to introduce to you Tony Campbell. He is the President and CEO of East Kentucky Power Cooperative, a generation and transmission electric cooperative based in Winchester, Kentucky. He joined the cooperative in the spring of 2009. Tony previously served in leadership positions at several Midwestern utilities. A native of Illinois, Campbell is a graduate of Southern Illinois University with a bachelor's degree in electrical engineering and the University of Illinois, where he received a master's degree in business administration. Tony, welcome. We're glad to have you, and thank you so much for your participation.
Thank you, Leader Atkinson. Thank you, and good afternoon. I'm very pleased to join you here today, and I'm especially pleased to be partnering on this project with the best and the brightest in Kentucky's energy industry. I'm referring, of course, to the professionals at the Kentucky Department of Energy Development and Independence and the University of Kentucky Center for Applied Energy Research. In the past few years, East Kentucky Power Cooperative and other electric utilities have worked closely with these entities as part of the Carbon Management Consortium. Secretary Peters, Dr. Caputo, Representative Adkins, I want you all to know that we've been extremely impressed and are proud to work with the skills and the initiative that's coming out of this facility. We should all be proud that they are putting these talents to work for the good of the Commonwealth. And today we need innovative thinking as much, if not more, than we ever have. Nearly half of the electricity generated in the United States and over 90% produced here in Kentucky is fueled by coal. And for good reason. In this region, the United States coal is available, abundant, and affordable. The results speak for themselves. Access to affordable energy has been the primary driver as Americans today enjoy one of the highest standards of living in the world. And in Kentucky, affordable, reliable electricity fueled by coal has been a cornerstone of our manufacturing industry. Tens of thousands of Kentucky jobs depend on coal generation. East Kentucky Power Cooperative generates electricity for 16 member-owner electric cooperatives that serve 520,000 homes and businesses in 87 counties in central and eastern Kentucky. I can tell you that those Kentuckians expect us to provide affordable, reliable electricity. They depend on us for that dependability and affordability. And we depend on coal generation for its ability to supply dependable, and affordable energy. Looking to the future, the challenge we face in the utility industry is ensuring that we can continue to provide affordable, reliable electricity while minimizing the impacts on our environment. This project represents a strategic step in the next phase of meeting that challenge. When coal burns, it releases carbon dioxide. In recent years, the federal government has begun taking steps to regulate those emissions. But the fact is, today we lack the technologies necessary to allow us to capture and store carbon dioxide on a large scale and without seriously impacting the affordability and reliability of electricity we produce. Of course, that means serious impacts to our utility bills, to our economy, and to our standard of living. And so the research that will result from this project is vital. It is vital to East Kentucky Power Cooperative and is vital to the Kentucky's economy. I mentioned the Carbon Management Consortium, which East Kentucky Power Cooperative, along with other utilities in the state, are supporting. The consortium is doing important research into capturing and storing carbon. This project represents another approach using algae to do the work. Imagine that. We're talking about using algae. And I'm an old farm boy. We used to call that pond scum. And now we're going to do something with it, something productive. This is amazing research. It's real innovation, and we desperately need this innovation. We need great ideas, and we need to do hard work in bringing those ideas to fruition, making them a reality. The Department of Energy Development Independence and the Center for Applied Energy Research are doing the hard work. We're excited to do work with them and learn more about algae and its potential for capturing and storing carbon dioxide. We are excited that this research will be taking place here in Kentucky at one of East Kentucky Power Cooperative's power plants in Clark County. Most of all, we are excited to be working with some of the best and the brightest minds and innovators and problem solvers in Kentucky, making sure we can continue to provide affordable, reliable energy for many, many years to come. Thank you.
Tony, thank you, and this is an exciting project, and this project would not move forward without your help and without your company's assistance. So we want to thank you here today for this public-private partnership that is really moving this research and development to the next level. So thank you so much. My next introduction really doesn't need an introduction. He is a man who I have enjoyed working with for now the last several years. He has tremendous respect, not only here in Kentucky, not only here in the United States, but he has tremendous respect around the world. Kentucky Secretary of Energy Lynn Peters is an internationally renowned chemical engineer with demonstrated leadership in research, academia, and management. Dr. Peters has held senior academic and administrative positions at leading universities, including Virginia Tech and the University of Kentucky. Before returning to the state as Energy Secretary, he served for 5 years at Battelle's Pacific Northwest National Laboratory. I think that speaks for itself, to be very honest with you. He holds a doctoral degree in chemical engineering from the University of Pittsburgh and is a prolific author and lecturer, and he is an outstanding leader. For research and development to move forward, for us to be able to have policy, whatever we pass, it is to give it to the next level, to be able to take that policy and implement that policy. Dr. Peters has taken the policy we passed as a legislature, and he has used that policy as a tool to put it into action. And he has been the person, in my opinion, that has the ability and the leadership skills to do just that. So if you would help me welcome Dr. Lynn Peters, the Secretary of the Energy and Environment Cabinet.
Thanks very much, Representative Adkins. It's always great to be with you, and President Capilouto, great to be with you, and Tony, it's great to be with you too. And it's great to represent Governor Beshear here. He wishes he could be here, but there's a particularly busy time for him right at this point in time, as one might guess. But it's on behalf of Governor Beshear, I'm really pleased to be here to celebrate this project and the state's commitment of about $1.3 million over 2 years for this demonstration project. And Rodney, I remember it was, I don't know, 2.5 years or so ago, we sat in your conference room up there, and I think Dr. Krofchek was there, Dr. Crocker was there, and I had a couple of my colleagues were there, and we're saying we had just finished the governor's energy strategy, Rocky, and we're looking at what we could do in the whole sequestration area, not only geologic storage, but also was there anything that we could really do in a meaningful way in the biological sequestration? And the algae opportunity surfaced, and we talked about that, and we asked the question, now how close are we to being at a stage where we might be able to get a demonstration project going? The question I think that we ultimately focused on was, can we do it in about 2 years? And here, a little more than 2 years later, we're there, which is a testament to the fact that universities don't have to take forever to get these projects done. And Rodney's leadership and leadership of Czar Krofchek and Mark Crocker and all of their colleagues really has demonstrated that once you put your mind to it and decide that that's something you want to do, we can get it done. But I think we all know how imperative it is for us to find ways to use Kentucky's coal resources in an environmentally sensitive manner and do so in such a way that our citizens and our industries can continue to benefit from affordable electricity rates. I think the urgency to do this is more compelling today than ever before. This is true as we face a growing number of more stringent federal regulations affecting the electric power industry, regulations that will inevitably lead to higher costs for electricity generation. But really, to solve our nation's energy problems, and I think it's fair to say that we have some issues and some problems, it requires a new way of doing things. Quite simply, our demands for energy are growing. Even with the gains made through energy efficiency, and we're making substantial gains there, they will continue to grow, and there is no single technology or fuel source that will solve all of these problems. I think, in fact, all fuel sources will be needed. But we have to remember coal must and will remain the bulk of the fuel mix in overall terms. And that's going to be true for several decades to come. That means that even more with natural gas and perhaps more nuclear and more renewables, the nation will need to use its coal resources. So the importance of this type of demonstration project really cannot be overstated. It furthers the goal of one of the key strategies in Governor Beshear's energy plan to initiate aggressive carbon capture and sequestration projects for coal-generated electricity in Kentucky. As Governor Beshear has stated, it will also benefit the nation as a whole, which heavily depends on the manufactured goods that Kentucky is able to produce thanks to our relatively low electricity rates. In the energy plan, we stressed that the use of algae to capture carbon dioxide from power plant emissions deserved further research because of the co-benefit that results from the production of biofuel or animal feed waste or whatever. But I'd also like to note that this project is an example of how our partnerships with the Center for Applied Energy Research, the Department of Biosystems and Ag Engineering, and other units at UK can advance clean energy in the Commonwealth. I firmly believe that partnerships will get us where we need to be, much more quickly and much more effectively. We simply can't do it alone. We can take advantage of what universities do better, what the private sector handles more effectively, and how government should, in fact, be supportive. Also, on behalf of Governor Beshear, I'd like to thank Representative Adkins and the Kentucky General Assembly for their leadership and support on promoting cleaner coal technologies and a range of other important energy features. It's really important to recognize that nationally, some of the legislation that has come out of our General Assembly is recognized across the country for its leadership and for the benefits that it's provided. East Kentucky Power Cooperative is also to be commended for its willingness to be a partner in the project. And Tony, you recognize just how vital such research is, not only to your company, but also to Kentucky and the nation. So thank you for the opportunity to speak with you today, and congratulations to everyone for working together to launch such an important demonstration project. And Rodney, we're going to be looking for the next one.
Dr. Peters, thank you so much, and thank you for your leadership. We could not be where we are today without your help and without your expertise. So I want to personally and publicly thank you for the leadership you've provided since you've been Secretary of our Cabinet. So thank you so much. The next two folks that I'm going to introduce to bring up are people here today to answer technical questions. I'm not the person to do that, to be very honest, but we have people here in this crowd that can answer those technical questions. But before I introduce them, let me just emphasize again how important that this announcement is here today. I happen to be a person that believes that energy independence for this country is an achievable goal. I believe that with all of my heart. I do. With the research and development, with the technologies that are here today and the technologies that will be here 5 years from now and 10 years from now, this country has been blessed with so much talent and so much natural resources through coal and natural gas and oil and all the opportunities that we have in this nation, nuclear power and all the things that are going to be part of the equation as we meet the energy demand of the future. I'm going to make a little statement that I make at most sermons that I give. It is not acceptable for the United States of America to not have a responsible energy policy as a nation. It's not acceptable. It's not acceptable to me, and I know it's not acceptable to you because we have an answer. We have the natural resources that has been given to this nation to use in a smart and responsible way. And this research and development is helping us get there. It's not acceptable for this country to be importing over 65% of our oil from foreign countries. 35% of that comes from nations that simply don't like us, to be very honest. It's not acceptable to be sending about $700 billion a year of hard-earned tax money to buy that foreign oil. When we have that here, that money needs to be invested in research and development. It needs to be invested in the technologies that we have and put on the ground to produce energy that we're going to need in the future. And it's for sure not acceptable for the single biggest user of foreign oil in the world to be our U.S. military. That's not acceptable. We're better than that in this nation. You know it, and I know it. And we need to demand it. As a people, we need to demand it, that the future of the economy, the future of our economic growth, is being able to produce the energy that we need that is affordable and reliable. So, with the opportunities we have here in Kentucky, with this brilliant research and development, bringing forth the new technologies, we are so lucky to have, if not the best, one of the best colleges of agriculture here at the University of Kentucky. And then we're for sure lucky to have one of the leading research and development energy places in the world here at the University of Kentucky in Kentucky. So when we have the opportunity to do this, I think it's pretty exciting. You know, and they used to strap up that old school song, and you got them butterflies in your stomach, and you got them chill bumps on you. When we used to go down to Eastern, when I played at Morehead State University and hit that floor and they'd fire up that big MSU fight song, man, I got them chill bumps on me. I got them butterflies. Let me tell you, you're the experts in this crowd. You're the people that can give us the answers we need. I hope you got them butterflies, and I hope you got them chill bumps, because we're going to need it. We're going to need it. And folks like me who are heavily invested in what direction we take in Kentucky and this nation. And my investment comes from a 26-year-old daughter with her 2-year-old grandson, my grandson, my 20-year-old son, who's at Morehead State University, getting his degree in agriculture, and yes, my 7-year-old daughter. Now, folks, I'm fully invested in this. You know what this 7-year-old means, don't you? Work till you die, right? So I'm going to get the technical experts up here now to talk about this and answer any questions that you may have. Mark Crocker is the Associate Director for Biofuels and Environmental Catalysts at CAER, where he has been since 2003. He received a Ph.D. in chemistry from the University of Bristol in the United Kingdom and spent 2 years as a NATO Research Fellow at the University of Wisconsin at Madison. Afterwards, he spent 15 years working in industry for first Shell Research and then for Douglas's, pronounce that for me, the Degussa Automotive Catalyst Division before coming to Kentucky. Zarina Krovchek. Well, I'm getting good today. I'm going to tell you, you're testing me. Received her Ph.D. from UK's Department of Biosystems and Agriculture Engineering, where she is now a faculty member. Her research emphasis at UK is in bioprocessing of value-added proteins and the conversion of biomass to chemicals and fuel. I think that's what's going on back here, right? Would you guys come up and let us welcome you and thank you for your work?
Well, thank you, Rocky. I'm not sure how we're supposed to follow that.
Yeah.
Although we are a double act, unfortunately, we can't tap dance.
No.
So you'll have to settle for us answering questions. One thing I would say is, if you haven't already had the opportunity to look around the greenhouse, please do so afterwards. We'll be very glad to give you a guided tour and answer any additional questions that you may have.
Well, we were talking a little bit earlier about where we are, and we started in little. I love the story about how we started 2.5 years ago up in that conference room. It was very nostalgic thinking about it. And you're right, we started with nothing, and we started with little flasks, and then bigger flasks, and then bigger and bigger, and finally we have what you see behind us, and we've been working at increasing that size in that amount of time. But what's interesting is as we've gotten bigger, we've also realized that sometimes we're going to need to take some of those samples back and look at them in a smaller way so we can really concentrate on the algae health as well as what to do with the product when we're done. So we've been working at making it big, and we're on our in the process of starting to look at how to actually use those products. But part of it is, in order to do that, we need a lot of algae to do various tests with. So I would say that's probably a fair assumption. That's our next real big phase, is to figure out what to do with it when we're done mitigating the CO2.
So we're looking for the algae to eat the CO2 as fast as possible, and that corresponds to very high growth rates, and so we'll be producing hopefully a great deal of biomass. That's an artist rendition of the test facility at Dale Station. So that's what it's going to look like, hopefully, when we have finally finished with the installation of the entire facility. I should point out that the project has been divided into 2 phases. So phase 1 is actually gearing up now, and we'll be going to Dale Station next week to commence the installation of the first module of our photobioreactor. We'll be testing that out for the rest of the year, and then in the late spring and early summer, we'll commence the second stage of the project, which will involve significantly expanding the size of the facility, so that at the end it's going to look something like that artist rendition.
Speaking as far as when we started off small and we got big, we made sure we kept it very modular. So what you see behind you is one section, but the theory is we should be able to do section after section after section and just make it bigger in that way. So the first step of making it bigger than what you see in front of you is what he's talking about, and then after that we're going to try to show that we can continue to add on until we can take care of the amount of CO2 that actually needs to be addressed. The algae is actually going to grow continuously, so we will be continuously harvesting. We're still working at figuring out exactly. What's so fun about it is when you grow algae, we want it to continue to grow. We don't want it to ever really reach a maximum concentration because we want the algae to be in there and be excited about continuing to grow. So we have to have a nice little balance between it not being like saturated, and so we can continue to grow. And what will happen is we will continue to take algae off, and it will continue to grow, and it'll just be continuous. But we're talking about doubling times anywhere from 8 hours to 14 hours, and possibly even less. But that's what's so much fun about, talking about pond scum and the idea that this is something that people spend all this time trying to kill, and we're actually trying to grow as much as we can. But what's also interesting is we're while algae is the product, it's really not the end product. It's the growth of the algae that we really want. The more we grow, the more CO2 gets mitigated, and it's a really interesting problem, and it's been a lot of fun to work on, and I'm really excited about what we're going to be able to do in the future with it. So, and I want to thank all of you gentlemen as well for allowing us to have the money to do the work, because that's what we're passionate about.
And once again, if you haven't already looked around the greenhouse, please take this opportunity to do so. We'd love to talk to you about the process in more detail. So, thank you.
Thank you.